This is Fred from Mass Worship, and you're listening to Brutally Delicious Podcast. Me?
You.
I'm on the west coast in Sweden, small town called Trollhättan.
Oh, okay.
Nice to meet you, Rena.
Nice to meet you too, Fredrik. I'm here across the bay in Finland.
Oh, nice. Cool.
Yeah, here in beautiful Espoo, drowning in sleet and ice and fucking humid coldness that will strangle your soul.
Yeah, horrible Nordic winters.
I hate this shit. It's awful.
Yeah, me too.
I don't know how
I'm so fucking tired of it.
Sorry.
At least we used to be able to just fuck right off for somewhere, like, I don't know, just take a long weekend in Barcelona or whatever and feel like a person after 4 days. But now it's just Mordor every day, Mordor forever. Like, sucks.
I don't understand being from the States how you deal with that 24 hours or however long it is of darkness. That would just totally crush my soul.
Yeah, where I am, it's pretty okay. Like it's getting better now at least. But if you go further up north, it fucking sucks, man. It's horrible. Total darkness all the time.
Yeah.
And where are you based?
I'm in Richmond, Virginia, over here in the States.
Okay, cool.
So, I mean, at least we get, the days shortened like normal, but we don't get anything like you guys get. That I couldn't deal with it at all.
Yeah. It's horrible.
So how's your day been?
Sorry?
How's your day been? What have you been doing today?
Yeah, pretty good. I work as a designer, so I'm working from home primarily. So it's kind of chill, I have my own schedule and just sit and dabble here a bit, and it's pretty nice. So that's been my day essentially.
Awesome. Well, we have more in common than Scandinavia. I'm a lead creative, so I suppose you work at a like some sort of marketing company, I assume.
It's actually a fintech company, but I work with UI UX design, so it's more product based rather than marketing material. Yeah, nice.
How do you see like combining which do you see as your more true self? Your designer personality or your musician personality?
Yeah, it's pretty horrible because I mean the musician personality is very intuitive and honest and everything, and I do some design stuff for our band as well. But the design stuff I do for our band is so not me. Like that's not me at all. And I would say that the design stuff I do for work is more in line with who I am. Like, very structured. UI and UX design is more about like structure and development, products, stuff like that. So it's very like strict and logical, everything. So that's definitely more in line with my personality.
Nice.
Cool. Interesting. So you would describe yourself as like a pragmatic, logical person who gets their kicks
I think so,
out.
Yeah. Boring, no humor, all of that stuff that comes with.
We just spoke to a civil engineer, so don't you worry.
Okay.
We're cool with nerdy musicians.
I'm good.
So let's talk about Mass Worship here real quick, and then we can get off sidetracked again like we normally do. But congratulations on Portal Tombs. I see that made it pretty high on the charts in Sweden. What's that feel like after putting so much time into the record and getting it all done that somebody actually gets it on the other side of the speaker?
Yeah, gives a fuck. Yeah. I feel it was amazing. It's super nice, and I mean the response we've had on this record compared to the previous one is like miles away. It's been so good, and it really feels like people are really understanding what we're doing now and what this band is about essentially, and it resonates differently this time around, and it just feels amazing. And spending that amount of work on it, and we had to postpone the release because of COVID. It's just great to get it out, and then on top of it, we're getting a lot of good feedback. So yeah, it's really good, all good vibes.
Well, congratulations.
Why do you think that is? Why do you think that is? That it resonates better now with people?
I think, it really was kind of like I see it as two different bands in a way. Like the self-title that we released was written for a specific setup and a specific lineup. I played guitar back then, and we had some other guys that were like remnants from more of a punk hardcore band that we had previously to Mass Worship. And with this record, I knew that I'm going to play the drums, so I know, okay, I can play this shit. That's set. And then we brought in 2 new members that are more in line with like metal territory, essentially. So I had more freedoms writing stuff, and I felt like I could really explore things musically. And I really think that in combination with just trying to communicate something very intuitively and using music as a way of communication, in a sense, those 2 ingredients combined made this record so much more powerful than the self-title. It's like, you turn up the knobs on everything. We wanted it to be more progressive, a bit more technical, but we also wanted it to be more melodic. And I think that really translates through the songs really well right now. So I hope, and I think that's why it, resonates well with people.
Right. That's great. So I'm going to jump in again here. Orcus Mouth. Love the song. Love the video. Also love that you got one of my favorite people in there, Jonas from Catatonia, and actually got At the Gates as well. How did that come about? Are you guys all friends over there in the Swedish scene?
Yeah, I mean, yeah, basically. But all of us been playing in so many bands, and I mean, we're primarily dabbled with punk and hardcore previously to this. Some of us in metal as well, but and you make a lot of friends during the years if you tour a lot, and those guys are definitely through those sort of connections. Our singer also has a van rental company for touring bands in Stockholm as well. So that's also kind of a link into, like, a lot of his clients are bands like At the Gates and Catatonia and all those bands. So yeah, Sweden is a small country. Stockholm is a small city compared to a lot of other cities, and metal in Stockholm is essentially just a small group of people. So it's really just all connections, bands that we played with, stuff like that. So fortunately, they wanted to leave their mark on the record, and that feels amazing.
Yeah,
of course.
Rena,
is there someone you would really like to work with in the future?
I got that question a while ago. And now from the top of my head, it would definitely be Jazz Coleman from Killing Joke. I would really love to do something with him, because it's like so out there for a metal band to collaborate with someone like that. And I really love everything they're doing, and I love everything he is doing. That would be really cool, kind of like a curveball to Mass Worship. And then it's more like traditional stuff. I would love to, have someone from Mastodon would be amazing. Opeth would be a dream as well, stuff like that. But that's more like classical metal dream worship, essentially.
So I got a question for both of you, actually. And why do you think so many great metal bands come out of Norway, Sweden, and Finland? I mean, is it something in the water? How does that, because it's an inordinate amount, I think, right?
Yeah. Rena, you want to start?
No, I was hoping you would.
Okay, yeah. I would say it's that the depressing, nature of this place plays a huge role. Like, that really sets the tone for a lot of music here, I think. And I mean, the emotional language that we use is for sure influenced by that. But then the boring side of that answer is also that it's generally welfare states. We generally push a lot of money into cultural institutions. We support the kids. Kids, if you want to play an instrument, it is not a problem. You can be from a poor family, rich family. It doesn't matter. The state is generally going to support you in it. And I think that has really, made Swedish metal and Nordic metal in general be exceptionally good, musically and technically. It's right. Really on point, everything. And I would say, it's a pretty boring answer, but I think it really influences everything.
I want to jump in.
No, you won't, because I haven't answered yet. But screw you, Bruce. No, I'll add an angle, because I completely agree with everything Fredrik just said. But it's also and I can just speak for the Finnish nation, because I know in Sweden it's slightly different where it comes to expressing your emotions. But the Finnish, nationality is like we don't get like an emotional upbringing. We are not like, you know, the Latin people who can just blow up and vent out whatever is like brewing inside. You're supposed to keep everything in. So it kind of makes sense that at some point you want to just hold the mic and scream into it. You know?
That makes sense, actually.
Yeah, that's very valid. I think that's true, for sure.
All right,
it's
so
pretty rough, and I know. I mean, stereotypically speaking, Finland, seen from Swedish perspective, is also a tiny bit rougher in every way, essentially. So yeah, it makes total sense to me.
All right, so I'm going to jump in for a second to something you said in Sweden, and I know this has nothing to do with mass worship, but we just kind of go where we go.
Is that a cat in the background?
No, it's my dog. That's Loki.
Dog.
Loki. Okay. It's a Great Dane. It's a very big cat, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah.
What I was saying,
sorry, go on.
No, you're fine. Say hi, Loki. You mentioned that, like, if you want to play an instrument in the schools and the kids, like, Sweden is behind them. That's so foreign to me because I have kids that have gone through school already and are out on their own. But when they wanted to play instruments in school, they had actually people that wanted to play the baritone or the tuba, and they would have to go out and fund it themselves. And there were some families that couldn't do it because, you know, they couldn't fund their kids' tuba. So I find that a foreign but amazing concept because that's not happening here.
Yeah, I mean, and of course, like you usually have to pay something, I guess. But I mean, even if you can't afford that small sum that it is, you can find ways to finance it through welfare, for sure. Like I'm 100% sure. If you want to play music, you can do it in Sweden, essentially. It's really amazing, and it's really strange too. I think in the society that we live in, where culture in general might not be, you know, valued at the value that it really should have. Right. It's really cool to see that government like go in and really support that kind of stuff. I love it. It's amazing, really cool.
So yeah, do you guys also get the freaking nokkahoilu? Those is that a mandatory thing? Because in Finland, you get on third grade, you get this awful flute.
Here it's called a recorder.
And it's basically like a cruel and unusual punishment to all the parents, and then you need to like learn to play it, and you have like a class full of kids just blah, blah. It's awful. That's not something that is good.
My parents used to tell me stories about that. I think nowadays it's not like you can actually choose instruments nowadays. But I know that it used to be like that. But that seems to me more like scaring people away, if anything.
Yeah.
True, because like you cannot conjure up a pleasant sound from that. Like, even if you're a virtuoso of that fucking flute, it's just gonna be ear torture no matter what. Like,
and then they all get together in that assembly and they play 10 of them or 20 of them, and you're sitting in the audience, you gotta clap and film it, but you're like, what the hell just happened?
Maybe that's something we should sample for the next record. It's like the most horrible sound you can conjure.
Right. Like there's the Peruvian skull flute thingy, and then there's just plain Scandinavian, like, you know, scary shit. You know?
Yeah.
So let's bring it back to mass worship before we go. What do you guys have planned next? I mean, are you planning on taking this on the road? Is that a thing that you can do in Sweden yet, or what happens from here?
Yeah, I mean, Sweden is pretty good right now, and it's been all throughout the pandemic. Essentially, we didn't really have any lockdowns. It's primarily been recommendations. Like, we recommend you to do this and that, etc. But over Christmas, we had some stricter rules. We started using the COVID passports, stuff like that. But it only lasted for a couple of weeks, and now it's all gone again. So in Sweden, it's pretty nice right now. And I think Denmark and Norway is kind of on the same. I think Finland is slightly behind. I'm not really sure about that. But in general, I mean, the goal for us as a band is of course, to tour a lot. And like I said, we have a roots in punk, DIY culture. We love touring. We love doing it ourselves. And I mean, that's obviously the goal. We had a tour plan with a Stockholm band called Leak now in March. But unfortunately, that got postponed till next year because some of the guys plays in Catatonia and Bloodbath and a couple of other bands. So we'll see what happens. I mean, probably no touring now in the spring, but we at least have a couple of festivals and a couple of shows here and there in Sweden for the foreseeable future. Then we'll see. The fall, we're hoping to get something in at least.
Awesome. Rini, have anything else? Hey, good luck with the record, and really congratulations on the success of that single. That's pretty.
Yeah. Thank you so much. Thank
Hopefully
you for
we'll
taking
see you
the
here
time.
somewhere. Hey, no worries. Thank you.
Yeah, hopefully
cool.
I'll see you at a gig.
Yeah, for sure.
You well, my friend. Take care.
Bye, dude.
Bye.
Bye.
Ever wonder what a punch from Elton John feels like?
Or how you'd cope with having turned down the chance to be in Nirvana?
Or what signal Keith Richards gives when he wants you to get the hell out of his hotel room?
Fans of Too Much Effing Perspective don't have to wonder, because they've heard these exact stories and a jillion others on our podcast. I'm Alex Hoffman, former tour manager for Radiohead.
And I'm musician and comedy writer Alan Keller. On the TMEP show, we get guests like Nancy Wilson from Heart, Jeremiah Frates from the Lumineers, and Modern Family's Julie Bowen to tell us things they may have only shared with their therapist, clergy, or a TMZ stringer.
So join us on Too Much Effing Perspective. That's EFFING Perspective. The only podcast you crank up to 11.